because my kin was one who was ordered by Brigham Young to hitch up his 3 oxen, go up to the mountains, and meet the handcart pioneers. The snow was 16 feet deep on the top of Big Mountain. They never would have made it through. But they left their animals at camp and with hand shovels, shoveled 16 feet of snow away so the handcart pioneers could walk up the mountain and down into the valley of the Great Salt Lake. His feet were frozen. He had to remain indoors for a month or so. But he said, I'm pleased to have lightened the burden of those who suffered so very much. This is a great sesquicentennial year. Like President Hinckley said, we've all learned how to say sesquicentennial. I won't ask how many of us have learned to spell it. That might be a little harder task. But you have experienced on this trek all of the kinds of experiences that they did. You know, it's hard for husband and wife to be together 24 hours a day. But when you're together in sections and groups, and it takes such a long time to get anywhere, you see every span of emotion. You'll know each other a lot better than you've ever known anyone before. You're like missionaries who are companions. You learn to get along well with each other. But you're superbly organized. And I want to tell you, up in this area, I know there will be hundreds of groups of families descend on the historic sites out of Riverton and out of Casper to see what I have seen. I walked where wagons climbed over the rocky ridge, and I thought of children with bleeding feet. I thought of parents with despair. I thought of the great fear that came into them when snow began to fall against their faces. And I literally, God bless the pioneers, became my prayer. Now, what would they have us remember? I think they'd remember for us how Providence, a Heavenly Father, brought them help in the nick of time. What if Brigham Young had not dismissed a meeting and asked the brethren to go to the rescue? What if the brethren had not gone to the rescue? They would have perished all. The point that I'd like to make today, in my great-grandfather's journal, well, a brother of his, it says, Brigham Young, President Brigham Young, tried to go to the rescue himself. That's a volume for me in leadership. Just think what you're going to write in your journal. You little children, when you gather your children around, you tell them what it was like in 1997 to be on the wagon train. Describe the horses, describe the people, describe the spirit, describe the bonfires, describe little things that might go unnoticed. And don't be skimpy about what you write. Leave a record that you might read it years later and watch the glow in the eyes of your children and your grandchildren when you say, I was with the wagon train in 1997. I know you've had to put a hold order on anybody wanting to join you. We had to put a notice in the paper. Please don't join the wagon train, they're loaded. That doesn't sound very good, does it? Please don't join the wagon train. They're a full complement. One of our secretaries in my office said, I've just come back from 2 days with a wagon train. What's your reaction? She said, I wish I could have stayed 2 weeks. I said, well, they're glad to be out in Nebraska. That I know. And Wyoming's getting close. And then Wyoming came. And now you're moving, whether you believe it or not, toward the day you'll come into the valley of the Great Salt Lake. And we're all, the presidency, we decided that Brother Hinckley, Brother Faust, and I said, why don't we forget a meeting that day and go meet the wagon train, like the leaders of the church did when the handcart pioneers came over to Little Mountain. He said, that might be a fine idea if we know when they're coming. So don't be surprised but there's a hearty welcome for all of you. Now you may get discouraged, you may get despondent, you may think of 101 reasons why you ought to quit, and then I could probably give you another 100 that would go with it. But there's something about perseverance. Now in Utah, we've all been a little, hipped up about the Utah Jazz basketball team. I don't know why, except that if you like basketball and you get a chance to play in the finals, you want to win. You always want to win. Brother Hinckley said the wagon train has mercifully been spared the finals of the NBA. He doesn't play basketball. But there was a coach, Coach Adolph Rupp, who was the basketball coach at the University of Kentucky when they had a regular dynasty of winning. No one could beat Kentucky at that time. And he at one time was directing his remarks to his students who were players. And he quoted a little homey verse. Stick to your task till it sticks to you. Benders are many. Let's see, starters are many, but finishers are few. Stick with your task till it sticks to you. Bend at it, sweat at it, smile at it too. For after the bend and the sweat of the smile, will come life's victories after a while. You started, you persevered, and my prayer today is that you may finish, and that you shall establish within your heart and within your homes and within your associates that feeling, we made it. With God's help, we made it. You're not there yet. Don't try to go faster than you should. What the Lord say in the Doctrine and Covenants on the Word of Wisdom, don't run faster than you have strength. But you've got wise people who are not goading the horses faster, I believe, and who are having rest stations. Isn't it nice that today's a day of rest? Ask the horses. They'll tell you. It's great to have a day of rest. But great joy awaits you in the completion of this journey. I wish I could hear from each one of you. I was not assigned to come here. I'm supposed to be in Riverton. But then when your stake president let me know that there's a place called Casper and that the wagon train was here, I told Russell Ballard, I'm going to go see your wagon train, Brother Ballard. Good. You'll come back a better person. And so it is. I honor you. You're pioneers. Those who go before, showing others the way to follow. This is sacred country. When you walk where those pioneers walked, and where you note where some pioneers died, and you read the beautiful monuments that the local brethren have erected, with no thought of their own gain, strictly to serve the Lord with all their hearts. John Ruskin, the English essayist, wrote the lines, "When we build, let us think that we build forever, and let it not be for present use or present delight alone, but let it be such work as our descendants will thank us for it. And let us think, as we lay stone on stone, that the time is to come when our descendants shall look upon the labor of our hands and be led to say, this my fathers did for me." Can we thereby be pioneers so that as our descendants learn of the history of this year and look at Mother and wonder, how, Mother, did you ever make it? Or look at Father, Dad, I didn't think you had it in you. And the record will speak for itself.